Hey everyone, welcome back to Solo Party. My name is Kane, and we are back with some more Dante Inferno. This time around, we've made it down to Circle 2, and we're facing off against Achilles. For Achilles, you can see that we have 3 different sturdiness values, and 2 of them have thresholds. Achilles also has weak spot, so Achilles' heel can only be targeted by attacks aimed at Achilles' back. Additionally, when the heel suffers 1 or more wounds for the first time in any round, it cannot suffer any more wounds until the caravan's next turn, so the heel can only suffer 1 wound per round. We also have Wrath of the Achaean. Whenever Achilles receives his 5th Enraged token after resolving the respective action or counterattack, discard all of the Enraged tokens instead. Then Achilles advances to the area with the fiercest champion at any range and inflicts 12 aggravated damage on them. And so remember, aggravated means if it would cause a wound, we carry over the rest of that damage into our next health pool. So if we're at 6 health and we take 12 aggravated damage, that will be 2 wounds and we still reset back to 6. So we're going to start with Oliver and try to go for that heal. We'll spend 2 of our vigor going down to 6, and that will move us into Achilles' back. Then Oliver is going to play Master Lunge. So we'll move once up on the fierceness track, putting us as the fiercest champion. Then we get to make an attack with a +2 dice bonus. We may discard as many maneuver cards from our hand as we want to grant it a +3 dice bonus, unlimited range, or precision 2 at our choice for each discarded card, and we can repeat that or choose different modifiers. And I believe in the parentheses there, those values are wrong. I think it should be +2 to +11 because it gives you that innate +2. You can also see that number there, we did level up a little bit, so we have level 2 cards now, as well as some level 2 versions of our champion abilities. So we are going to choose to discard 2 of Oliver's other maneuver cards in order to give it Precision 2 and another +3 die bonus. We already had a +2 die bonus from the card and an Empower 2 token, so we're going to be rolling 11 die total. And with Precision 2, we need to hit 11 on sturdiness. So 11 die, 11 sturdiness, and 4 threshold means we can roll a couple fumbles, but that means we need to roll some doubles as well. So let's see what we can do. And that was a perfect roll with 3 fumbles and 11 hits. We avoided the threshold and hit the heel. So we're going to inflict 1 wound on Achilles' heel just like that. And next up, we will go ahead and activate Marie. We're going to spend 1 point of vigor going down to 6 in order to move her into this space with this whirlwind. And so whirlwind are special pieces of furniture, and whenever we interact with them, a champion will gain Empower 2, and then we can reposition our model to another area of our choice that has a whirlwind. So we can see we have one in the back corner over here, one right in the middle, and one back there. So we can kind of reposition wherever we want when we interact with those, and that's exactly what we're going to do with Marie. So we'll go ahead and spend another point of vigor to go down to 5. And that will give Marie Empower 2, and then we're going to put her over here into that area with that whirlwind. And now Marie is going to play Guidance. So that's not going to move us up on the Fierceness track, but we make an attack. And if we are above our target, which we are since we got to teleport up onto that building there, this attack receives a +2 dice bonus. So we're going to be rolling 5 against Achilles himself, and then we got that Empower token as well, so 7 die against Achilles. And as a collateral effect, the next attack made by any champion against this same action deck this turn receives Precision 2. So we'll be able to help out the next attack as long as we can beat the sturdiness here. And Achilles only has a sturdiness value of 6, so not too bad, but that threshold is 1. So definitely going to be seeing a lot more counterattacks, I think, with Achilles. Okay, that is 6 hits and 3 fumbles. So definitely going to see about a counterattack. So let's reveal the back of that action card. A counter strike. Move 3, approaching the fiercest champion at any range. And so the fiercest champion is actually just going to be Oliver there right behind him. If there are any champions in the area Achilles is in, inflict 2 base damage on the fiercest among them. So again, that's going to be Oliver, and since we rolled 3 fumbles, that is going to be, 2 plus 2 more, so 4 damage to Oliver. And then Oliver is going to suffer push 1, which isn't too bad because he's not going to get pushed into furniture or anything like that. But it is still a successful wound, so we will discard that afterwards. And now that Marie's turn's resolved, let's go ahead and go over to Kyra. I think it's going to be hard for us to get Oliver out of the fiercest position at the moment, so we're going to try to go ahead and support him a little bit. So with Kyra, we are going to play our coordinate card. So we'll go 1 up on the fierceness track, putting us in the second position, and then we get to move 2 with climb and spend any of those points as they were interact or deliver item basic actions. And then you or another champion at any range receives Invigorate 4, Empower 4, or Inspire 1 at your choice. And we are going to give Invigorate 4 to Oliver to get him back up to a healthy 6, because he's probably going to be taking an attack from Achilles. So for our movement, what we're going to do is kind of similar to Marie. We're going to move up 1 into this area and then use that second basic action to interact with the whirlwind in order to teleport into the back here closer to the action into that last available space in the area. So that is also going to give Kyra an Empower 2 token. And we are going to follow that up with our hand crossbows ability. So once per turn as a free action, we're going to suffer stun 1 with fatigue 3 to make an attack with a +2 dice bonus for each cooldown card on our board. So after that stun, we're going to have 3 cooldown cards on our board. So we're going to get +6 to this dice bonus. So that's going to be 9 plus our 2 from the Empower. So 11 die. And remember, because of Marie's collateral effect, the precision 2 has lowered the sturdiness to 4. So 11 die going up against 4 sturdiness. All right, so on that roll, it looks like we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hits and 3 fumbles. So let's go ahead and check for the counterattack. Riposte. Move 2, approaching the attacking champion, inflicting 1 base damage on each champion in the area Achilles steps into as he steps into them. So 1 base damage plus 2 extra from the fumbles. So that's going to be 3 damage to each champion on the way up there to Kyra. So yeah, that's going to hit everybody there, pretty much except for Kane. Now that damage puts Kyra at 4, Oliver at 3, and Marie at 2. But we got 10 hits, so that's going to be 2 more wounds. And for Kane's turn, we're going to use his new Pagan Sacrament level 2 card in order to receive Invigorate 4 and Empower 2. We are then going to draw a Sin card as well to receive 1 Aggressiveness token. So remember, we can spend an Aggressiveness token during an attack to add 6 hits to it. And we've drawn an Enraged Sin. So as a reaction, whenever you or another champion at any range suffers a wound, we receive Empower 4 and draw a Maneuver card. And because we drew a Sin card, that means we get to place a trap within range 2. So we're going to put it over here by these stairs. And we'll take an Invigorate 2 to put us at 10. We're then going to spend 3 Vigor going to 7 in order to get up onto this building. And we will go ahead and go down to 6 in order to check out a finding. And Kane found a Miry Sinkhole, so as a free action, we can discard this card to inflict 1 wound on a Malefactor within range 2. If it has 2 or more action decks, the wound will be inflicted on the one with the lowest sturdiness that is not empty. Okay, so we couldn't use this to get a free hit on the Achilles heel, for example. This will pretty much always go towards Achilles since he has the lowest sturdiness. And now the shield, you'll notice, isn't something we've had to contend with yet. It's not something we can target directly, but some counterattacks might instead redirect our damage towards the shield. And that's why I kind of want to make sure I'm rolling a lot of die and hitting high results in case it gets redirected so I can still wound the shield deck. And with that, that'll be the end of our first champion round, and we'll give it over to Achilles. Now, if I had been paying a little more attention, maybe this wouldn't hurt as much, but this is about to hurt. We've got the shield throw. So first, we're going to do an inflict 4 damage on the fiercest champion at any range. So that is still going to be Oliver. So 4 damage to Oliver at 3 HP is going to inflict a wound and reset him to 6. Then, because we bunched up, there are definitely champions within range 2 of the first target, so we're going to inflict 3 damage onto Kyra, who is the next fiercest. That's going to leave Kyra at 1. And then there's still yet again another 1 champion in range 1. So Marie is going to take 2, which will drop her as well, giving her a wound and resetting her to 6 vigor. Okay, let's actually wait 1 second on that Marie damage, because we actually gained the Reconciler trait during our chronicle phase. So whenever a Malefactor inflicts damage on another champion of the opposite gender at any range, before applying any block X effects, you may divide the damage evenly between you two. So 2 damage to Marie, we have Reconciler on Oliver, so we can split that damage 1 and 1. So Oliver will go to 5 and Marie will go to 1, and therefore she won't have to suffer a wound just yet. Then for Achilles' action deck, we have Challenge. We're going to move to approaching the fiercest champion at any range, which is still Oliver. Then, if the champions have 6 or more wounds, which we don't, so we'll skip that. Otherwise, Achilles receives Enrage 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to and get Enrage 1. Finally, we'll shuffle 2 Arcana cards into Achilles' action deck, and then the Whirlwind drags to A3. But the Whirlwind is already at A3, so we don't need to move it. Then lastly, we have our Rapid Stride for the heal deck. And so we do not have the Spear for this version of Achilles based on what we did in the Chronicle. And so otherwise, Achilles moves 3 in a straight line. So since we are at the edge there, that means 1 point of those movement is going to be spent to turn around 180 degrees, and then we'll move 2 more spaces forward, which means Achilles will be going over that trap there. And so therefore, we will discard a top card of the action deck. And after that, Achilles will receive Fortify 1. We're not going to move through anyone, so we don't have to inflict any damage. Alright, we're ready to go with the champion phase again, and we're going to start with Cain this time. So we're going to start by catching a breath. This won't adjust us on the track any, but we're going to set another trap in the same spot where it just triggered, and then we are going to pay that 4 Vigor in order to remove the sin card that we have in our hand. So we're going to go down to 7 from 11. Next, we'll go ahead and use that Miry Sinkhole to inflict a wound on Achilles' action deck. Okay, and that worked out rather nicely because you can see now we have one of those Arcana cards on top of the action deck, and the great thing about those is that you cannot fumble. It cannot counterattack, so with Achilles' really low threshold, it's super valuable to be able to do big attacks on the main action deck when there's an Arcana card there. So we are certainly going to take advantage of this, and that means we are going to play Rancorous Shot with Cain. We will take Oliver's position as the fiercest champion, and then we are going to also draw that additional sin card, so we're going to make an attack with a +8 dice bonus. And whenever we draw that sin card, we're also going to place another trap, which is going to give us another Invigorate 2 as well, since we already have Empower 4. So we receive the Murder Sin as a reaction when a Malefactor at any range suffers a wound. We receive Invigorate 3, and that Malefactor discards the top card from that same action deck. And this is not the same as inflicting a wound. Okay, so honestly, not too bad. Alright, we're going to be rolling a whopping 15 die for this attack. With our Boomstick, we can also pay Vigor for some rerolls, and we have that Aggressiveness token to add 6 hits. So we could do a lot of wounds here potentially. All right, we can ignore the fumbles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 hits. Okay, perfect. So on a sturdiness of 7, because he gained that Fortify, I forgot to put the token up, but that increases the sturdiness value by 1. That's going to be 2 hits, and we do not have to worry about a counterattack. And I'm actually just realizing my Boomstick doesn't reroll, it adds 2 die. So I'm actually going to go ahead and spend that Vigor and roll 2 extra die. Okay, and another 3. So obviously that puts us at 17, so it's still 2 wounds. I think I will go ahead then and spend that aggressiveness token so we can get a 3rd wound. And then we are also going to choose to give in to murder. So we're going to inflict 4 total wounds and receive Invigorate 3. Now, after a big turn with Cain, let's go over to Marie and begin by using some of our War Incense. So we'll go up 1 on the track, putting us in 3rd there, and then we're going to receive Inspire 1, and I think we'll choose Empower 2. Then we'll go up another 1 on the Fierceness track in order to punish the wicked, so we make an attack with a +1 die bonus. So that's going to be 4 plus 2 from our Empower, means 6 die, and then as a collateral effect, us or another champion within range 2 will also receive an Inspire 1. So we'll be rolling 6 die against Achilles, against a sturdiness of 7. And we do have several ways to reroll. And wow, that is really good. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 10 and 1 fumble. So 1 fumble does mean that it would be a counterattack, but I think we are just going to use our 1 Inspire we just gained. Even though when we stack those, we gain bonuses, I think flipping this over into a double and thus making it 2 wounds with no counterattack is definitely worth it. Then for our collateral effect, we'll give that Inspire to Oliver, who we're going to try to use to once again break another heal. And for that collateral effect, we'll go ahead and give Oliver 1 Inspire because we're once again going to try to use him to get a wound on the heal. And lastly, because we did get 12 hits on the die, that will activate our Align the Choir, so we'll give ourselves an Invigorate 2 to put us up to 6. Next up, we'll have Kyra go, and she's going to perform a Battle Cry, so we'll move up 1 on the Fierceness track, and then we're going to give Oliver Empower 4. We'll also go ahead and spend 1 Vigor with her going down to 5 to check out that arc for another finding. And she found the Waters of Cocytus, which can help the holder either remove a sin card from their hand or pay 6 vigor for a restore 1. All right, so maybe not so good with Kyra, but maybe she can pass this off to somebody. Now, finally, we're going to start to take this big swing at the hill with Oliver. We're going to start by playing Motivate, which will put us into the number 2 position on the Fierceness track, and then we're going to move 2 right into the back of Achilles and give ourselves another Inspire, so we have 2 Inspire. Then we'll follow that with a Diligent Strike, which will make us the fiercest once again, and we're going to discard both of the other maneuver cards that we have, so we're going to get a +6 dice bonus to this attack. So 6 plus our 4 is 10, plus an Empower 4, so 14 die against a 13 Sturdiness with 2 Inspire. Okay, so right now that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That is 16 right there. So we do have enough to break. There are 4 fumbles, which is the threshold, but we're going to go ahead and use 1 Inspire to flip those. We're only going to deal the 1 wound still, but we will not get a counterattack, so it'll be a successful wound on the heel. And with that, it's going to go back over to Achilles. Now, Achilles is going to start us off with a shield bash. So we're going to move 3 approaching the fiercest, which is Oliver again. So we're already there. So we'll just turn to face him. And then if there are any champions in the area, Achilles is in, inflict 4 damage on the fiercest among them. Okay, so 4 damage on Oliver is going to knock him down to 4. And then Oliver's going to suffer stun 2 with fatigue 3. But luckily we don't have to take fatigue damage, but we are going to suffer that stun 2. Okay, then we have another challenge. So we don't need to move because, again, we're still at Oliver, who's the fiercest. And then we don't have 6 or more wounds. So Achilles is going to gain Enrage 1. So that's going to be our second Enrage. And remember, we trigger Wrath of the Achaean at Enrage 5. And then we're going to get 2 more Arcana cards into the action deck. And the Whirlwind is going to get dragged to E2. Okay, and lastly for the heal deck, we have Rapid Stride. It's the last card in the deck. So it's the same thing. We don't have the spear, so Achilles is going to move 3 in a straight line, inflicting 2 damage to each champion in the areas he steps into for each time he steps into them. And then Achilles is going to fortify again, so 2 fortify. So that 2 damage put Kyra at 3 and Marie at 4. He ended up stepping on one of our traps, so we did discard the Arcana card that got shuffled on top. We are getting low on the deck. We know there's 2 Arcana cards left in there now, and we've almost completely broken the heal. And now I've also been wanting to do this because during the Chronicle phase, we got the Love Potion. So once the heal is destroyed during the Circle of Lust Confrontation phase, we are going to get to read a scene here about the Witch's Gift. So with that, we'll send it back over to the champions. Okay, so Achilles is in a pretty bad spot for us to be able to get to the last heal wound that we want to get. So we're going to have to do some repositioning here. So we're going to start with Kyra and spend 1 vigor in order to move her. Then we'll go over to Oliver and spend 2 vigor in order to move him into the place where Kyra just was. Now the goal is to just get a single hit off on Achilles so we can trigger our Charon's Paddle ability in order to push him into that other zone where we can then use a card with Kyra, even though she's ranged, in order to get that heal shot. So we are already the fiercest with Oliver, but we're going to start with a Diligent Strike and we're going to make that attack. And since we're at a sturdiness of 8 now with the +2 fortify, let's go ahead and discard our other 2 maneuver cards in order to get a +6 here. So 10 die to get an 8 sturdiness. And we do still have 1 Inspire if we need it. All right, so that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 3 fumbles. So I don't think we necessarily need to use our Inspire yet. Maybe we hang on to that. We still haven't used a lot of our restore abilities yet, so I think we're okay even if we do take another wound with Oliver. So spending 2 vigor with Oliver means we get to push Achilles, and then we'll trigger the counterattack. And we got a counterstrike. So we're going to, okay, and it is a move. So yeah, it's going to move right back, but that's okay. At least the back will be exposed to a spot we can get to because we can just move Marie again if we need to. And then 2 base damage plus the other 2 is going to be 4. So yeah, that's definitely going to put another wound on Oliver. And yeah, definitely with the push as well, which would just add another 2. And I think that's going to be a good opportunity to go ahead and use our Oboli. So we can spin this with Kyra, and that will reset Oliver to 9. And then we get to inflict that wound. All right, we were thinking about getting that big hit in with Kyra, but now it looks like we might just do it with Marie instead. So let's go ahead and start by playing our Benediction to get an aggressiveness token. Then we are going to play Take Down the Giant. So that's going to make us the fiercest for the first time this battle. And then we make an attack with Precision 2, meaning we're going to be attacking the heal. So the threshold is going to be 6 instead of 4. Then this attack receives a plus X dice bonus. We suffer X damage, and X is equal to the difference between our weapon power and the target's sturdiness. So that is a difference of 10. So that is going to mean we take a wound, but it's going to give us a huge attack against the heal. So we've got 13 die going up against 13 sturdiness, and we've got a couple rerolls if we don't get it right away, but let's see. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how many rerolls we have. So we can spend a total of 3 Vigor, 2 for our Holy Thurible to give us a reroll, and 1 with our Redeemer to give us another reroll. So we'll go down to 3 in order to reroll 2 of those fumbles, and we're looking to get 2 between these 2 die. And we got it. So that is going to take out the heal. And now we'll store the love potion and read the Witch's Gift. With his heel injured, Achilles slows down. He remains a dangerous opponent, though. Hurting the most powerful warrior in mythology proved to be as difficult as anyone could imagine it to be. However, an opportunity arises. Dante looks at the flask you were given by Semiramis and notices something unexpected about its contents. The witch's poison is not liquid, but gas, a smoke that will spread as soon as the bottle breaks or opens. Hesitantly, as he knows that nothing that comes from her can be good, but he also knows that this is your choice, so he must respect it. May he have mercy on us. The Florentine throws the object at the Myrmidon, who immediately stops it before it touches him. Just as Dante had planned, the thin crystal shatters and a green cloud covers the son of Peleus' face. Treacherous vipers, he screams, coughing and screaming in pain. His chest heaves heavily. What have you done to me? Have you no honor? The Achaean falls to his knees, poisoned. The man is now as weakened as he is furious. Achilles discards all of his fortify tokens. Okay, so we're back down to 6 sturdiness. And from now on, he cannot receive any more either. Okay, that is a huge debuff. And we won't forget that the 13 hits there meets our Align the Choir requirement, so we get another Invigorate 2, putting Marie back up to 5. And now we can really focus on getting down Achilles. And now Kyra is sensing her opportunity, so she's going to start with a Swear and receive an Aggressiveness token. And then next she'll play the Corrupt Tempest, so we get an attack with a +2 die bonus, and if we beat the sturdiness, which surely we will, we've got it back down to 6, we can draw a Sin card to discard the top card to get an extra pseudo wound. Alright, we're rolling 7 die, we need to beat a sturdiness of 6, and we do have an Aggressiveness token to add 6 hits if we'd like, which is basically a guaranteed wound. Okay, that's 2, 4, 6, 7 hits, and we will go ahead and use our aggressiveness token. So 13 hits and 3 fumbles, so we will get a counterattack. Let's see. Interpel. If Achilles is wielding a weapon, redirect the damage being inflicted by this attack to it. Okay, so this will actually go over to the shield instead. So we rolled 2, 4, 6, 7, and okay, so that's going to go to the shield, and that's actually not going to inflict a wound. Well, actually, no, because we added the aggressiveness token, so 13 will get through the 9. So we do at least get to get rid of one of the shield cards. And now, finally, let's end this with Cain and see if we can do a little bit of damage. We did reveal an Arcana card, so we're going to make as big of an attack as we can this turn. We're going to start with our Gorilla Preparation. That's going to allow us to set another trap, and we don't have any wounds, so we won't be setting additional traps. And that is mostly just set up to combo with our canister shot. We're going to make an attack with a +2 dice bonus and then remove both of those traps to get an additional +4 for each. So that's going to be a total of +10. We're then also going to spend the 2 Vigor with our boomstick to add +2. So we're rolling 15 die with no chance for a counterattack. All right, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. And so that will be 2 successful wounds, so we'll get rid of the Arcana and the next card. And now, because I know that shield throw is coming up again, I do not want to be close to my allies. So with Kane, I am going to go ahead and start moving far away. Let's see, I think 3 should be enough to do it. Back into his starting position and down to 7 vigor. That's where we'll end the champion phase and go over to Achilles. And Achilles is starting out with another shield throw, so 4 damage to the fiercest champion at any range is going over to Kane. So Kane is going to drop down to 3 vigor. And before we continue with Achilles' turn, I do want to mention that I did not fully read what Enraged tokens did. I thought it was just a counter for the Wrath of the Achaean ability, but then once I started to get into Fortify, that made me think, oh wait, I feel like these probably do something additional as well. So I should have been adding extra damage per Enraged token on Achilles to these attacks and counterattacks. I don't think it changes too much. I think we definitely would have taken some extra damage here and there, maybe an extra wound on someone else, but I think we've done really well so far, and we will go ahead and add it from here on out. So let's go ahead and start. We've got a shield throw, so 4 damage plus 2 enraged tokens means 6 damage to the fiercest champion at any range, which is going to be Kane, so he's going to drop to 1 vigor. And we knew this was coming, so we made sure to be out of range for another champion to get hit, so this action is ended there. Next, Achilles is going to perform a Gallant Flourish, so we'll move to approaching the fiercest champion at any range, so that is going to be Kane. Then, if there are any champions in that area, Achilles would inflict 8, again plus 2 would be 10 total damage to the fiercest among them, but luckily there is nobody in that zone. So otherwise, Achilles receives Enrage 2, and the action is ended. Okay, so that puts us at Enrage 4, and if we get to 5, that will trigger the Wrath of the Achaean. But right now, he's adding 4 to all of his attacks and counterattacks, so that's pretty brutal. And though Achilles' action is ended, the Whirlwind is still going to be dragged to C3, and we can go back to the champions. We're going to start off the champion's turn with Oliver. We can see that we drew another Arcana card on top of the action deck, so we're going to be able to make a big swing without worrying about a counterattack, which is going to be really good for Oliver's Shield Bash ability, which lowers the target's threshold, so that's not going to matter if it can't counterattack. So we're going to start by spending 1 Vigor with Oliver to interact with the Whirlwind. That's going to give us Empower 2, which will give us a total of Empower 4 since we already gave him Empower 2 from his Call to Battle ability. And that will move him into the area with Achilles. We will then choose to play our Shield Bash card, so we make an attack with a +4 dice bonus. So we're going to be rolling, I believe, 12 total die, and we do still have 1 Inspire. Okay, so that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 on the die. We could use an Inspire to flip one of those fumbles, but that would only get it to 17, which is not going to be enough to get another wound. So that will be 2 wounds, and we don't have to worry about a counterattack because the top card is the Arcana. We will follow that up with Marie, who's going to catch a breath so we can receive Inspire 1. Then we're going to spend 1 Vigor in order to move up onto this building. And then we'll play our guidance card, so we're going to make an attack, and now that we are above Achilles, we will get a +2 dice bonus, and as long as we beat the sturdiness, then the next attack this turn will get precision 2. And a perfect roll, okay. So 10 is still only going to be 1 wound, but I think we'll go ahead and use our aggressiveness token here to turn that into 16, which is still only 2 wounds, but that is going to put it down to 1 remaining card in the action deck. And now we're going to use Kane to attack with release shot. So we're going to be rolling 4 die here. And thanks to gaining precision 2 with Marie's guidance, we only need to hit a 4 hit value here. And I'm hoping rolling less die means we're less likely to roll a counterattack. Okay, so that is 4 exactly what we need to hit, but we did roll the 1 counterattack, so we do need to see what happens here. And we have Mockery. Move 2, approaching the least fierce champion at any range. Okay, the least fierce. The least fierce is going to be Marie. Then, thankfully, there's no champions, so we don't have to inflict damage. So, otherwise, Achilles receives Enrage 1, and the counterattack is ended. Okay, Enrage 1 does trigger Wrath of the Achaean. But if I'm understanding this correctly, I believe the wound would occur before Wrath of the Achaean triggers, so with that, we defeat Achilles. And now we can read The Fall of the Proud. The battle was intense. The Myrmidon is an opponent worthy of his reputation. But, in the end, whether through strength, strategy, or trickery, you once again prove to be the best warriors that Christendom has at its disposal. No, that cannot be. Achilles is on his knees in disbelief. Even after being battered, he still cannot believe he could be defeated. I should be invincible in this place, not weak like mortals. Though disincarnated, his soul reproduces the symptoms of a beaten body. You are the son of Peleus. Dante takes the opportunity to lecture him while you recover from the battle. However, not being able to die does not mean that you will not feel anguish, pain, or tiredness. Otherwise, the punishments in this place would be of no use. You will recover, but it will take time. The damned never forget such feelings. Take advantage of the fact that you have rediscovered a remnant of your humanity and humility, Achaean, and change your ways. Leaving the man to reflect, you move on. And because we have the Bargain with the Witch discovery card, we also read The Witch's Debt. With high spirits, you follow the road that descends towards the Circle of the Gluttonous until the figure of a woman dressed in red and blue surprises you just ahead. I see that you made use of my gift. Semiramis's words sound venomous. So, was it good for you? She smiles, her words dripping with poison and lust. What will become of him? Dante inquires with a frown. The poet desperately wishes that the bargain had not been made. In fact, nothing he has not already done himself. To be honest, you could say I might have helped him. Was it not his passion for Briseis that ruined him? Well, now he will no longer have eyes for her. She laughs, feeling victorious. Divine justice shall prevail, Queen. Minos has returned to his post, and little by little the anomalies will be restored. The damned souls who have rebelled will return to their places, and you, pray that you are not sentenced to a worse punishment. The Florentine then urges you to move forward. Whether or not his harsh words have affected the cynical woman, only time will tell. And that is the conclusion of the Circle 2 and Dante Inferno. If you've been enjoying this playthrough, let me know in the comments if you want to see more. This has been Solo Party. My name is Kane. Thanks for watching.